Yeah, so I had Final Fantasy VI Pixel already installed, so I was like, why don't I just play the music while we do this, right? So yeah, there is a ton of games on this tier list that I'm not gonna do, because like some of them are like Chocobo Dungeon, never played that really, and then there's some other games that aren't really Final Fantasy, so yeah, like Octopath Traveler, Bravely Default, and I mean, this technically, Vagrant Story takes place in a Final Fantasy world, but it's not a Final Fantasy game. But yeah, so does the screen look all right in terms of like just visibility? Because this is my first time doing this. By the way, I'll probably be uploading this to like the main channel just so everyone has a chance to get pissed off. No, I'm sure it'll be fine. But yeah, I'll probably put this on the main channel because a lot of people ask me, and I figured, why not, right? So yeah, this song's really good. So okay, so yeah, there's a lot of games here that I won't be talking about. Let's start with, you know, Final Fantasy 1, right? Final Fantasy 1, I'll definitely say is decent. Not great. The original Final Fantasy 1, loads of bugs, right? A ton of bugs that made a lot of the mechanics just, well, not viable. And in terms of story, there's really not much to it. It's pretty much go here, do this, go there, do that, and then fight the big bad at the end. Still very enjoyable. I think I probably enjoy like the PSP ones a little bit more than say like the NES or Origins one. Though, I think the Origin is probably like the best pure Final Fantasy 1 that you can experience in terms of like old school gameplay mechanics and somewhat decent translation and overall appearance. Translation wise, it's not as good as like the PSP one, but it's got the premise there. But yeah, honestly, there's really not much to talk about it. Graphically, original, it's a Nintendo game. It looked as good as it could be. Did it age well? Not really. Origin looks pretty good, but honestly, it's as old school as we could probably get it here. Now, we move on to Final Fantasy 2. Also decent. It is a step from the norm, I guess you could say, in terms of RPGs, because back in that day, we had just level 1, level 2, there you go. This introduced the Saga system pretty much, that Saga, Frontier, Romancing Saga, they all use, where the more you do something, the stronger you get at it. You know, sword levels, shield levels, magic levels, that sort of stuff. And it did not get well received by a lot of people, sadly, but I still really, really enjoy it. Again, kind of like Final Fantasy 1, there's a lot of problems with it when it comes to like bugs, but it did start getting better at storytelling. We actually had named characters, we actually had like a villain that was around. It's one of your favorite. No, it's I think is a very good game, but there's a lot of problems with it in terms of bugs. And when it comes to like the newer version, like PSP, the bugs are fixed, but a lot of the challenge of it just is gone because they increased all the like the gains. Like if you play the Nintendo version or Origin, you'll see the difficulty. Like if you want to make a sage, you really can't, because if you use black magic, your spirit goes down. If you use white magic, your intellect goes down. But that in the future versions, they don't really do that. They also took away like equipment weight problems with magic, so you could have heavy armor casting. And like the original version though, if you wore any armor, all of your accuracy for your magic is just instantly diminished to like nothing. It's like you can't cast magic with armor on in the original. I think it's still a really good game, but in terms of like bugs and kind of how it aged, I definitely will rank it as like a decent. Now, we get to Final Fantasy 3. Now, my first time I actually played Final Fantasy 3 was the 3D remastered. We never got it in America, the 2D version, until Pixel. And I played Pixel, and honestly, Pixel and the 3D I think are both equally enjoyable. They're a little bit different, especially when it comes to class changes. But in terms of actual, like, my opinion of where it is, I think the 3D version of this probably... Great or incredible? I'm gonna say great. You say it's not very good. I actually have played 3 probably... I say if I had a tier list of how many games I played, like 4, 6, and 7 are probably the most. Then 3 would probably be the most one I've played. Something about it, whether it be the combat system, or the classes, or just the overall flow of the story, it's a very basic flow. It's kind of like Final Fantasy 1 when it's like, hey, go here, do this. Now again, I'm talking about the 3D version that had more storytelling with it than the original one. But as I was going to say, it's kind of like Final Fantasy 1 where it's go there, do this, but you have more story, more interactions with characters and the things around. So I think it's because of that flow and the mechanics in the battle is one of those games I can just go to and just play. So I definitely will say it's probably one of my favorites in terms of like just play style. So I'll put it at great for now. You think the story for 3 is a step back from 2? I don't know. Because it's still like 2 is... I mean, obviously that's your opinion, but it's like one of those things, like, I'm thinking about 2's story is... It's a good starting base for where they're going. But they still have that sort of problem where it's like, okay, you go here, you do that, and then you come back, and then there's like, oh, by the way, here's, you know, the Black Knight. He just gets introduced. But then again, like, I think 2 is a pretty great game in overall, but just how it aged, it's decent. I just think when you went to 3D, now 2D Final Fantasy 3 might be a step back, because honestly, when I played the Pixel remaster, the flow of it is very much kind of the same as like Final Fantasy 2 in terms of like the progress, whereas the 3D version, from what I'm ranking right here, is more of a, it's more filled out with story. But anyways, let's move on to my first masterpiece, Final Fantasy IV. It's my favorite Final Fantasy game. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you probably realize that. I think while there is problems with some Final Fantasy IV storytelling, I don't want to go, you know what, we're going to go into spoils. So yeah, there's a lot of fake out deaths in Final Fantasy IV, which I don't really like, but the overall experience for me, it's one of my favorite games of all time. I could put this in at any point and play through it. Like, if I wanted to tomorrow, I'd be like, okay, you know what we're doing? We're playing Final Fantasy IV. And then we would play that, and I would beat that. And you know, after that, I'd be like, you know what? Why don't we play Final Fantasy IV 3D? And then we could just play that. Because it is just one of my favorite games. The characters, like, Rydia is probably my favorite summoner ever. Like, Cecil, I think, is a very good protagonist in terms of, like, hey, you start off doing bad shit, and you can see that he instantly regrets it, but he's following his orders, and then he kind of changes over the course. And it is probably their best, not best, but in terms of like the old school games, it's really where they started going, hey, hey, this is more story focused right now than like the previous ones. That's where we're going. It's not just go here, do this, go there, do that. It's go here, experience a story, then go to the next place. It's kind of like the start of like a JRPG formula, right? Oh, God, his battle music's great. I chose correctly with the music player. Now, for the first thing that's probably going to piss off a lot of people, the after years. I really like the After Years. A lot of it has some problems, but again, it's also one of those games that I can just play in and be like, I'm gonna play, you know, Theodore's story, and then go play the Rydia story. And then, like, I can just keep playing it. It's definitely pure nostalgia, because there are problems with the 3D version and the 2D version of the After Years. One, when it first came out, it was episodic. That sucks. You have to complete a story, wait 3 months for another one. That sucks. 3D version came out, you don't have to do that, but here's the thing. Super repetitive in some points. But again, is the After Years really just that? Yes, the After Years is actually very disliked. I will say it's one of the more popular walkthroughs on my channel, but it is one of definitely I thought was a pretty good game, and I was actually pretty surprised at how disliked it is compared to like a lot of other games in the universe. So yeah, it's like probably some people are gonna be like, dude, what the hell? But anyways, yeah, story-wise, I really, except for the Cecil story, I really liked most of it. I like the fact that Golbez is a part of it, and it sets itself up for a sequel that we're just never gonna get. So I actually kind of hope they remake it one day, N4, to be like more of just one giant game, or at least, I don't know, more connected. But yes, the characters they introduced and just the strategies you can come up with, especially the 3D version with the leveling up bands, the Unite attacks, which is also another really cool thing that I wish more RPGs had, is combo attacks. It's like, if we're working as a team, and we're close friends or partners or lovers or something, we should know how to fight together. Like, the voice acting, we'll step back in Final Fantasy IV 3D, voice acting of that was actually superb as well. But yeah, no, After Years band attacks, I really think more RPGs should have something like that. It's just, it makes sense. But, and they shouldn't skimp out on that. Persona 5 Royal, I'm talking to you. When I saw that, I was like, cool, we're gonna have like freaking Unite attacks with everyone. It's like, no, you only get certain people. Like, oh, come on. We're all friends. I'm dating half of them. Anyways, moving on to Final Fantasy V after I take a sip. Grandia 2 had combos? I didn't play Grandia 2, sadly. I should get around to that at some point, but if they do, good. That's good. Do that. Run Trigger's your favorite Final Fantasy? Yeah, exactly. Final Fantasy V has my favorite class system in any Final Fantasy game. I'm gonna put it in Incredible. Because, hear me out on this one, some of the classes are completely useless. Just, they don't have really good skill systems. In terms of storytelling, I think it's about as good as, like, Final Fantasy IV. There is one scene in Final Fantasy V where I'm like, I feel like you kind of copy and paste this out of Final Fantasy IV, but, you know, it's still an epic scene, right? But yeah, the class system is my bread and butter for this. It's one of those, I love the fact that I can master a class, and then when I'm a freelancer or base class, I get to use those stuff without having to like the passives. I don't have to worry about passives anymore because I'm a master of that class. I've absorbed the class. And like every other class system after this is just kind of gotten away from that. It's just one of those things like, I don't know why you would change that with Final Fantasy V. But yeah, some of the classes are completely useless in Final Fantasy V because other classes do the same thing and they do it better. And that's kind of the problem with class systems sometimes is if you have more than like 10, you're going to have repeating stuff, and some of them are not going to be that good. But I just like the idea of having stupid bad classes. Sometimes that's really good. Dragon Quest 3 and I think I want to say 7, but they have like the Jester class or the Goof Off. I think it's called Goof Off. One of those, and it's a shit joke class. But if you use it, the Jester class, if you use it, you become super strong when it evolves into, like, you can change to the Sage easily. It's like, okay, it's useless now, it's stupid, it's kind of funny, but it's, you know, it doesn't really help you. But if you stick to it, you can become really strong if you want. So that sort of stuff I appreciate. But yeah, job systems where it's like you master a class and then you switch and you don't really get anything from it, I don't really like that, but I think Final Fantasy V had the best job system ever. And that's why I think it's incredible for the most part. The story's really good too, but I think graphically, I love the emotes that they put on the characters. Like, it's kind of cheesing when you just put like a heart above someone's head, but I don't know, I like the little touch. Speaking of emotes, go to our second masterpiece, 6, because they also improve the graphics so much that you can tell when a character is emoting, like, what they're feeling. It's a huge step in terms of, like, graphic upgrades between 4 and 5, which are very similar graphically, and then you get to 6, and you all of a sudden have these beautiful graphics that you can actually kind of just, you know, can see the expression. Now, of course, it's 2D, so it's still kind of, you know, not as good as like a 3D one in terms of like expressions, but you can tell if a character's sad, happy, just having fun. I love the blushing effect too that they had. And on top of that, the story they tell in this game is absolutely beautiful and really good. I didn't like it that much. The music's really does, yeah, no, the music's great. But yeah, no, it's like the story's really, I thought was really great. The combat system, the only problem with the combat system I have is we have the Esper system. And if you don't put self-limitations on, generally speaking, most of the characters are gonna be the same at the end, with the exception of like Sabin and I guess Cyan a little bit. Who's not really. I mean, Cyan's skill is pretty alright, and it can be really good if you like put a lot of work into it, but yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I mean, Tools is really good early game, but Magic does outpace it later. Sabin's blitz attacks are extremely useful and about as good as Magic throughout the entire game. Throw's really good. Rage can be really good if you put the time into it, but generally speaking, a lot of people don't. So it ends up being pretty shit. So yeah, I guess that's where I still stand. It's like the characters, they all kind of become the same if you just learn Magic with everyone. But the story-wise and characters' interactions are all really, really great. Honestly, I feel like I don't even really need to go too much into 6 because I think most people already know that. Which, I'm gonna say also, 7, also I consider a masterpiece. Kind of has the same problem as 6 when its characters generally just are the same. Like, there is no real difference between characters aside from their limit break. But the story is exceptionally good. Graphically, it kind of looks like shit nowadays. But I don't mind it. The PC graphics suck, actually. Like PlayStation 4 version, PlayStation 1 version, mobile version, I think, are good. Like, I don't think they've aged that poorly. They kind of suck, but there's definitely other games that suck worse. PC version, they added like a black hole for a mouth, and that beyond infuriates me. Just beyond infuriates me. But everything else, you know, aside from somewhat poor graphics these days and characters being the same in combat, everything else about it, music, story, really, really great. Shadow's theme, also really great. Yeah. Honestly, I can't say it's not a masterpiece. I was like thinking for a second, no, it's a masterpiece. Yeah, IMO. But yeah, let's move on to another one. I'm sure that's gonna piss some people off. Now, hear me out on this one. Final Fantasy VII Remake, I thought, was incredibly fun and a good game. I will say some of the changes. Are the games ordered within tier? Oh, you mean like, do I find 4 to be more of a masterpiece than 7? Or like, based on what I liked more? They are now. They are now. I do like 6 a little bit more than 7, and like I just said, Final Fantasy IV is my favorite Final Fantasy game. So, anyways, that's also gonna piss a lot of people off. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah, I thought it was an incredibly good game. I thought graphically, it's actually one of the most beautiful games that I've played in recent years. There was not really much lag. The NPCs all kind of look the same, but that's in every goddamn RPG ever played. Even in like a game like Trails, where they give NPCs like their own backgrounds and names and stuff like that, they are all the same. They all look the same. So NPCs, I kind of go like, okay, they all look like shit and the same, so just throw that in the bin. But graphically, for the main cast, I thought it was astoundingly beautiful. And story-wise, I liked it. I am hesitant to say that I'm looking forward to where they go with it. I'm worried they're gonna pull a Kingdom Hearts. But with the story they told in 7 and where it ended, I am very intrigued to play the next one. And I thought as a game in itself, the remake stands alone to just be enjoyable. You might be only actually play it if you like really know Final Fantasy VII, maybe. But, you know, I guess that's kind of what they expected, right? But yeah, no, the way it ended, the way the story told, the overall game itself, I was like, this is just an incredible game. And apparently, not many people think that. I didn't know that until I was done with it. So yeah, it was a kind of a surprise. Let's see. Let's move on to 8. That's a good question. I think story-wise, line 8 is pretty good, pretty great. The drawing system sucks. The junction system is really great because it breaks the game. party member wise, honestly, they kind of have the same problem that 6, 7, and potentially 5 as well, where they're kind of all the same. Some have pretty useful limit breaks. Squall, Selfie's double cast is really good. The blue magic sucks in that game. Irvine's, whatever the hell his name is, Irvine's, the shot is pretty good. I didn't have a problem with the characters. I don't know if I want to put this at the top of great or in incredible. It's an extremely simple game to play. Oh, Tetramaster. Oh, right. Yeah, no, it's incredible. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the card game is amazing. So yeah, it'll go incredible. I mean, I just kind of went over a lot of the pluses and negatives of it. Yeah, graphically, honestly, I think this is probably going to catch me some flack as well. I think it aged worse than 7. Like, how is that possible? Chronos 7 had the block arms. Yeah, that's a style of art. In 8, they were made to look human, but we're not thinking about the remaster one. If you play the original PlayStation 1 or the PC version, like, they kind of look like deformed monsters because of how they're drawn. They're drawn to look like human, but because the graphics have kind of aged, they don't really come across as people anymore, outside of like CGI cutscenes. So yeah, you know, I'll leave it incredible. It's an extremely good game. So, I mean, to be fair, I don't think I'm gonna put anything in bad, unless Final Fantasy All the Bravest are on this. Is Final Fantasy All the Bravest on this? I don't see it. You're lucky. I don't see it anywhere. Okay, good. Wait, is that it? No. Huh. Okay. Anyways, let's move on to 9. So 9. It brings back the class system, but you can't change it. But that's fine. It lets you switch all over. Unique characters this time around. Actually, no. We'll talk about Final Fantasy 11. I meant terrible, by the way, and I said bad. All the Bravest was a mobile game. That would end up in terrible or the trash bin. Yeah. So story-wise, I think 9 is up there with 6, 7. Character-wise, I think it's up there as well. You know what? Yeah, no, that's... Yeah. Yeah, I'll put it in a masterpiece. The characters are enjoyable. The combat system, kind of slow, but it's unique in the fact that we're once again having unique characters. Not everyone can cast magic. Not everyone can summon. Not everyone can fill a role. We now have the abilities that we can learn based off equipment. This is also another system that I really like in RPGs, and I think more should have it. Tales of Vesperia had that as well. Honestly, I can't think of any other games that kind of did that. So, yeah, it's another one that's really, really good. The tails is triggering you. I mean, it's going to trigger a lot of people. You might be joking, but some people are going to flip their shit. That's why it's going on the main channel, so everyone gets to see it. Yeah. Music-wise, it's really good. Has a... Yeah, no, it's in the masterpiece, definitely. Final Fantasy X. Graphically, for PlayStation 2, probably one of the better looking games. Full voice acting, also really great. They have a really good laugh. I actually don't mind that scene. The spare grid is also really good, but unfortunately it falls back into everyone can do everything. So, oh, but that ending though. And I actually like Blitzball as well. I know not a lot of people do. It can be super annoying, but I have spent a lot of time. Yeah, Oh, this is harder than I thought it was going to be quite honest. Oh, I like the ending. I thought the ending was great. I thought the ending... Honestly, I think the ending for that is probably better than most Final Fantasy endings. Yeah. Card Game 9 is terrible, that's true. I probably should lower it to Incredible for that, but I'll keep it in Masterpiece. Like, how do you ruin such a good card game? It's fine. We're off of 9, we're on 10. Yeah. Huh. I don't know. It's either at the very top of Incredible or at Masterpiece. I think I have to put it in Masterpiece. I haven't replayed it as much as some of the other games, but... Oh, well, okay, except when I lost that save when I was doing the walkthrough area and I had to replay it again. Yeah, I think I have to put it, at the very least, at the bottom of Masterpiece. Yeah. Graphics are good, voice acting's pretty good, and throughout the entire game. There's some bad voice actors. Story's good. Combat system is actually really, really good. So, yeah, it's gotta be. Alright. So next one is Final Fantasy X-2. I have only played it once. I 100%ed it. Graphically, it's about the same, on par with Final Fantasy X. Has the voice acting again. The story is... not bad. I won't say that. Like I said, I enjoyed Final Fantasy X too. The class system's really good for the most part. The dress sphere. I like the 3 main ladies. I would say the story's decent. But yeah, the gameplay of it actually probably brings it up to great. In my opinion. I need to replay through this game. Because I only ever really played it once. All of these have, like, really great music. Alright, so, yeah, honestly, it's kind of weird, because it's like, I really enjoyed it when I played it. There's nothing overly, I would think, is overly glaringly bad. The story is kind of, like, average, but everything else about it is really, really good. So, yeah. Pain was an awakening for a lot of people, I think. I do like her outfit, though. Final Fantasy XI. So, yeah. I only played to level 30s, okay? So it might get better after that. I will say that I stopped because I wasn't really having a fun time. And this is when I really, really liked MMOs as well. I heard they added, like, AI companions to it, but I never actually checked, so that might make it better. But, yeah, I didn't really care for the story, and when I played it, it was when it first came out. So, the main and subclasses were pretty good. I'm trying to remember what I had. I think it was, like, a monk white mage. Is that what I had? I don't know. I don't remember too much. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but it is heavily, like just MMO. So if you like MMOs, you might be able to like that, but I didn't really like it. And I see that we have a bunch of other Final Fantasy 11s after that. I never played the expansion, so we're just going to skip over that and go to 12. Now, 12. So, I played it. Oh, actually, you know what? We have the PlayStation 2 version and the Zodiac Age version. I stopped playing the Final Fantasy 12 PlayStation version, PlayStation 2 version. I found it just kind of boring, and I didn't like the license board, and I couldn't connect to any of the characters, and so I'm just gonna put this down there. But in a twist, we have the Zodiac Age going into Let's talk about it for a second. Let's talk about it for a second. So, Zodiac Age. I played through it completely on the channel. I really enjoyed it. The license board classes, I really like how that was handled compared to what I played for PlayStation 2. I like the fact that you could choose two of them, kind of like dual class. Really, really good little system there. Story-wise, I thought was decent. I liked the characters, but you know, like there wasn't any standout. Ash was all right. I actually thought Ash was pretty great, and Fran's a bunny lady. But you know, I didn't really have too much connection with the characters. I thought they were all right. Graphically, I think Zodiac Age is really, really good. It's definitely way better than the PlayStation 2 version, I thought. Then again, I could just be biased. When I tried it, I just didn't enjoy it at all. Environmentally, when you start in the desert, it's kind of bland, but as you move on to other areas, it gets really openly beautiful. So honestly, it's either at the top of great or at the bottom of incredible. Also like their limit breaks. The 3 stages of limit breaks they had. That was really cool. One of the things is, like, when I stopped playing that, I noticed a lot of people were like, oh, you know, Vaughn and Penelo, they don't deserve to be. They're like, what's the point of them being in the party? I'm like, yeah, you can say that about like 90% of the parties in any JRPG. Like, let's think about it for a second. Like, Final Fantasy VI, really great game. What is the point of, like, Realm or Strago or Amaru being in the party? Aside from Mog told them and they just wanted to come, right? Same thing can be said about, like, frickin', well, no, Ramu told Mog to come there, I guess. But yeah, a lot of RPGs have that. But I don't really ever see that as a problem. You find a character and it's like, you want to come with us or do something? Maybe because he was supposedly the main character, but still, it's like, I don't know. It might have been played out a little bit better if Ash was the main character from the start, but yeah. I think I'll put it at the top of great for now. We might come back and revisit it. What's this one? Oh, is that the DS game? Never played it. So now we're on to Final Fantasy 13. Judging by some of the comments I've recently read on a certain video that I just uploaded, some of this is going to piss some people off too, I thought the original Final Fantasy 13, you know what, let's put it at the top, was really great after I played it. I tried playing it once when it first got released and I just kind of petered out of it. I wasn't really getting it. But as I played it for the YouTube series, I really started to just... The story... I wouldn't say the story's good. I would say the gameplay is its greatest aspect. The combat system in this game, I thought was really, really great. but the story, it's all right, but a lot of the stuff that you need to be explained to you is like in a dialogue box somewhere, like in the data center. I don't really like that form of storytelling, but I thought like just overall the summons, the battles, I really like Lightning. I really like her interactions with Hope. I like Hope, which apparently is also a uncommon, just, you know, a thought. I thought he acted like a child, which he is. He is a child. He's like 14, right? So I thought he played his part perfectly, to be quite honest. I like the interactions between... There's one scene that I really, really like in 13, and it just puts a smile on my face. It's when it's when Hope teases Vanille, like he kind of confesses to her a little bit. I forget exactly what he says, but like Vanille gets all freaking like, oh my god, I didn't know you felt that way, and Hope's just like, nah, I'm fucking with you, and just runs away. And that is like one of my favorite scenes. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a really fun game. Story's not that great, but the gameplay itself holds itself. It's very linear, I'll give it that. But honestly, when I was just going from combat to combat and all that stuff, I didn't really mind it too much. Now, I really don't get why Lightning's on the cover for Final Fantasy 13 too. I like it more than Final Fantasy 13. Because I'm a big, big sellout for monster capture games. But the combat's still really good. The story, I think, is slightly better told. It does end on a cliffhanger, though. Yeah, I guess I'll put it at the top of great. Yeah, with the new... Yeah, I don't know why Lightning's on the main cover for that. She's... Spoilers, I guess. She's not the main character of Final Fantasy 13, too. Yeah. So I think it having just brought down to 2 people and going from segment to segment really helped the flow of the story a little bit. Again, I wouldn't call it an amazing story, but I would just call it a decent story. But the gameplay itself, again, is really, I think, stand out above. And you can have a Behemoth on your team, you can have a Cactar on your team, a Tonberry. Really, really good. So, yeah, I think I'll put it at the top of great. I might put it... No, I think the story holds it back a little bit to put it in incredible. Oh, they have the original Final Fantasy. We'll get to Final Fantasy 14 in a second. I guess I'll put... Do I like Lightning Returns more than Final Fantasy 13? Again, the story's alright. It's the gameplay itself that really held it for me. The job system, the overall just like flow of the game. The time limit I don't like. There is ways around it. So, you know, I'll put it below 13 for now. I will admit, I feel like they did some characters a bit dirty in this game. So yeah, you know what? Below Final Fantasy 13, I think, is a good place for it. Some people are going to be very mad at that, because there were some comments the other day where it's like, oh, he finished Final Fantasy 13 but can't finish this game. Oh, he played Tales of Arise and can't finish this game. I'm like, yo, like, I get it, you like the game, but... like, these other, like, Final Fantasy 13 had a really great combat system that I enjoyed. Tales of Arise also had a really good combat system that I enjoyed, and character interactions I enjoyed. And they weren't like 120 hours long. But we'll go there. Alright, anyways. So up to Final Fantasy XIV. I lied earlier. I played the beta for the original Final Fantasy XIV at work when it came out. I used to work at a game development company that's specified in MMOs, so we all played it, the beta, when it came out. So, the beta, what I played for Final Fantasy XIV, was absolute garbage. It was just trash. And yeah, they did the smart thing of just taking it down and rebuilding it, because Realm Reborn, I thought, was pretty decent. Now, this is just Realm Reborn right now. It does suffer that when you get to the end, it is a slog to get to the final story of the Realm Reborn part. I remember I thought I was done with Realm Reborn, and I still played like an extra 20 hours to get to Heavensward. So, yeah. That being said, Heavensward, I thought, was pretty incredible. When I finished that, I was just like, this is really, really great. And I enjoyed almost every second of it. And I'm a little sad that some of these characters won't be continuing on in the future. But I thought it was really, really great. I'm not a huge fan of having to team with people. The Crystal Tower at the end of Realm Rewards was... Funny thing is, actually, I was playing through, I think it was Pixel Remaster Final Fantasy 3 when I got to the Crystal Tower in Realm Reborn. So I was like, huh. Okay. What? Like, this seems really familiar. But anyways, Heavensward I thought was really, really good. And, again, kind of my only really complaint is I have to play with people. I'd rather just the NPCs join me, but, you know, I don't have to do side quests, so that's cool. I don't have to do, like, a lot of the MMOE type stuff. So it was, you know, it was good. I haven't completed anything else, though. So I'm like, when I stopped Stormblood, I think I just saved, like, the old samurai dude from that woman. I gotta go back and play it. I do want to go back and play it. And apparently they did add more AI, like, companions for, like, other stuff, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, but yeah, I didn't really play through the rest of them, so I can't really tear them up. Why do they have, I mean, I guess the DLC? I don't know. Where do I want to put Final Fantasy 15? That will piss off the most people. No. I liked Final Fantasy 15. You know, I'd probably put... I'd probably put it in on the top of decent. Yeah. I like the characters except for what's his face, freaking I don't even remember his name. So yeah, I guess decent is a good part for it. I don't mind the open world aspect of it, but they could have done that better. The side quests were meh. The overall story was good, but the flow of it kind of like reached a brick wall at the end, and then it was alright. Not Noctis. I like Noctis. Not Pronto, not Iggy, the other one. The idiot. Gladius. Yes, your daddy Gladius. He was a little bit too hot-headed at points. I was like, what are you, like, why are you giving him shit for this? Like, dude's wife. Yeah. But anyways, I thought it was an overall decent game. Apparently people hated it, but then again, apparently my tastes differ. I never played this mobile chibi game. As for the Royal Edition, I'm assuming... I'll just say that the Royal Edition is the DLCs. I thought the DLCs I played were pretty good. There was nothing really great about it. I like Pronto's probably the best out of the ones that I played. Which I played all of them, actually, unless they released more. But yeah, it's like overall it's just pretty decent DLC experience. I don't know if it's worth the money, but I don't know. It's alright. Alright, so I haven't played Type 0 yet. Is this before Crisis? I know of it, I've never played it myself. And we get Crisis Core. Oh, that's a hard one. Where am I gonna put this? The multiplayer DLC for 15 I tried was pretty shit, though. I thought. Crisis Core. I think the level up system in Crisis Core sucks. I think the combat is good. I think the overall story is great. Graphically, for a handheld, was pretty good. I didn't mind the battle system in Crisis Core. It was just action. The level up system I hated. The roulette thing was... Oh, okay. It's a Chocobo song. Like, did someone just fart in my ear? Most of the story in Final Fantasy Crisis Core was great. I don't like all of it completely, but most of it I thought was really, really great. And the ending is just kind of heart-wrenching, so... I honestly don't know whether to put it at the top of great or incredible. Or the bottom of incredible. Honestly, I like Crisis Core probably more than, like, Heaven's Ward, because it's easier to play, though, for me. I'll put it at the top of great for now. Yeah. So, where were we? We were Type 0, before Crisis. Crystal Chronicles, I never finished it. I played a little bit of it, but... From what I did play for it, I didn't really like it. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but I would say, on the Game Boy version at the very least, it was kind of bad. Sorry. Where else were we? So, is that Dirge of Cerberus? Oh no, Dirge of Cerberus is down there. I don't know half of these games. I haven't played Dirge of Cerberus. I know the story, but I've never played Dirge of Cerberus. Oh, wow, I'm skipping a lot of games here. Oh, Dissidia! That's Dissidia. Alright. I thought Dissidia was okay. It wasn't really that great. The fighting was fine. You have to play it, stream game. If I can find it, sure. But yeah, Dissidia's alright. I wouldn't really write home about it, but I wouldn't say it's a bad game. It's a fighting game. Dissidia 2 or the other Dissidias, I haven't really played. I'm really surprised they don't have all the bravest in this game. On this tier list. I didn't make this tier list, by the way. I found it. And it just has all these games on it. Yeah, the first Dissidia game, I really, it looked good. It played all right. Story was there. Honestly, I kind of forgot it was a thing until like I saw the recent Dissidia. It's like, oh right, they have a fighting game for that. Huh. But yeah, so we go through these mobile games that I've just never played. I don't even know half of them. And then we get the Final Fantasy Legend, which is a mana game. It is a mana game. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I wouldn't... If I played it today, I'd probably not like it as much. I'm not sure if they ever remade it or not. But yeah, it was like a Game Boy mana game that they just called Final Fantasy Legend when it came to America. Has party members. Can't really control them all that much. It's a very basic game. The story's there. It's not bad. So, it's okay. Now, Final Fantasy Legend. Not Legend. Final Fantasy. Wait a minute. Oh, wait, I'm thinking of Final Fantasy Adventure. Final Fantasy Legend is a different game. Okay, Final Fantasy Legend is actually a saga game that they renamed to Final Fantasy Legend. So, it's still a decent game. I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of the first one. It's one of those games that if you know what you're doing, you can just go through instantly, because it's really, if you know how to build your characters, it gets really easy. If you don't know what you're doing with your characters or your monster characters, you're fucked. It's one of those games. It's like, it's a saga game. You're either gonna know what you're doing and you're gonna have an easy time, or you're not gonna know what you're doing and then you're gonna be fucked. Maybe not at first, but as soon as you get to that next level, they're gonna stomp you. So yeah, it's one of those type of game. The story is pretty much about as basic as Final Fantasy 1. You start, and then you climb a tower, and then you kill God. There you go. And then that's it. There's really... There's not much else there is to it in Final Fantasy Legend 1. They improve upon the story in Final Fantasy Legend 2. And this game is incredible, and I'm going to put that up. There's a little bit right there. I love Final Fantasy Legend 2. I have played this game many, many times. Final Fantasy Legend 2 is probably my favorite Game Boy game. That is including Pokemon Red. And Crystal is Game Boy Color, so it's a little different. But, Final Fantasy Legend 2, I thought, incredible improvement on Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy Legend 1. A lot of variety when it comes to like what you can build your party with. There's actually a lot of storytelling in it, and way better than 1 anyways. And it's just an overall, for me, a really, really good game. Like a really incredible game to play. Yeah. I mean, graphically, it's about the same as Final Fantasy Legends. It's a Game Boy game, so you're not going to get much improvement on that. Yeah. It's just overall really, really, really great, I thought. Now, Final Fantasy Legend 3, this is actually, from what I understand, from what I've read, more people like Final Fantasy Legend 3 compared to like 2 or like 1. I think it's slightly better than Legends, just 1. I didn't really connect well with the story or the characters. But overall, I thought it was a better experience than 1. And it's still a fun game. But yeah, compared to like my reception of 2, it wasn't really in its ballpark for it. I know I get Final Fantasy Legends and Adventures mixed up at first, but it's in the right place. Now, Adventure, I will say, is better than the DLCs for Final Fantasy 15 and Dissidia, but it is below Legends. So, Final Fantasy Adventure is actually a mana game, like I was saying earlier. Very bare bones story, gameplay, but overall, it's an alright game, right? It's a good way to spend your time, like, on a bus or something. But really not much else to talk about it. Now, we move on to Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. I'm just kidding, it's a goddamn masterpiece. Chronos. No, I actually really love Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. I've also played this so much that I really... So here's the thing. I used to, when I would be exercising like on an exercise bike or lifting weights, when I was resting, I was playing Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. I don't have room to do that anymore, but I would be like on a bike for 2 hours playing Mystic Quest, and I do that almost every other day for a long time. And I've beaten it many, many times. I like the overall story for it. Very basic, but I thought it was really well told. I thought the gameplay mechanics of it, where you're one person and you have temporary party members, was really a callback to Dragon Quest, but also really well done compared to Dragon Quest 1. The equipment is super simple, where you just get a better thing and it just procs it. There are some bugs though. Like if you get a new piece of equipment, you need to reset your game or else it doesn't take it into effect. Some bugs, but all these games have bugs. Every single one of them. Literally Final Fantasy XIV was a bug. So, you know, at least still got onto terrible. But, yeah, it's, that's probably gonna get a lot of people. But I really, really love Mystic Quest. A lot of people say it's too easy. I mean, I guess maybe. It's one of the hardest games to start, to be quite honest, due to how the crits work. Like, when you start the game with one battle, and it is designed that you should win with a slither of health left. That's how it was designed. But they allowed the monster to crit, and he crits frequently. So you will start the game and you will wipe like 4 or 5 times in a row until you are actually lucky and beat it. Honestly, I think this game requires more strategy than some of these other games, to be quite honest. This is total bias, by the way. I know this, but it's my tier list. I love Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. I don't get the hate it gets. So, anyways, now we move on to Final Fantasy Tactics. It's a masterpiece. I like that more than, Oh, do I like it more than 9? I don't know. So I guess not. I kind of like them both about the same. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I like it more than 9 or not, but it is definitely a masterpiece. The story is overall great. The combat system is a strategy RPG, but also just really well done. I wish they kind of made their class system like Final Fantasy V, but it is what it is. Overall, I thought it's just a really amazing game. Graphically, it's really pretty too. This is just the PlayStation version. We'll get to the different version of Final Fantasy Tactics in a second. So, yeah, PlayStation 1 Final Fantasy Tactics, amazing game. If you never played it, I definitely recommend it. Okay, if you never played half of these games, I definitely recommend it. Because you will spend a lot of time, and I'm assuming you might have a good experience. Probably, maybe. From my standpoint, you would. Now, they did remake Final Fantasy Tactics. It's War of the Lions, I believe it was called. I'm gonna put it at... Man. Why am I having a hard time putting it between decent and great? So the general core of it is still amazing. Like, the story's still there. There's a new translation. It's a better translation, though, you know. If you played the first one, you're probably like, oh, that's kind of annoying, but it's a better translation overall. They added anime cutscenes, well, cel-shaded cutscenes to it, which were really good. But it was kind of a mess. If you used like a skill, a magic, or anything that added graphics to the screen, it lagged for all like 60 hours of the gameplay or more, depending on what you do. So every battle you would do something, it would just lag. And that, I completed it. Actually, to tell you the truth, when this game first came out, I knew about the Dark Class edition, and I looked up how to do it. At the start of the game, I went to this desert that has a level down point, and I pretty much got all the requirements for the Dark Knight, and then I just leveled down to level like 4 again. So, because enemies scale with you in random encounters. Like, story encounters, they're all set levels, but random encounters, if you level up to 99, you'll like stomp like the story encounters, but if you get into a random encounter, the enemies will destroy you if you don't have equipment. So that's why I did the level up thing. But yeah, Dark Knight was really cool, but it lagged the game completely. So I can't put it any higher because honestly, the lag is completely unbearable in the PSP version. I finished it, but when I went back to go play it, like, recently, I was like, this is kind of awful. Like, I should be done with this battle, yet I'm on turn 5 because it lagged. There's also some other bugs with it, but that's every single one of these has bugs. Some are more game-breaking than the other, but I think we're done. Octopath Traveler isn't a Final Fantasy game. It shouldn't be on this list. Triangle Strategy isn't a Final Fantasy game. I haven't played anything else. Like, well, I played a lot of Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, but I never finished it. It was good. I guess I could put it on the, because I never finished Crystal Chronicles either, so I guess I could put this. Like right here? Yeah, I never finished it, but what I did play for it, I did have fun. I just ended up not finishing because of time restraints. World of Final Fantasy is right here, both of them actually, the DLC and that. Haven't played those either. I'm meaning to get around to it. But yeah, Bravely Default's in a Final Fantasy game. Yeah, I don't think I played anything else. I think I own this one right here, the My Kingdom game. But yeah, I haven't really played. Yeah, oh, I guess that's it. So let me know how much you think my tier list is. How bad is it? Like I said, I'll probably upload this to the main channel instead of the VOD channel, because I know a lot of people ask me this, and it'll be fun comment read about it. But we'll probably do more tier lists in the future when it comes to like some longer games. Maybe. Or you know what? Do a character tier list for like Danganronpa. Sure, that would go over well. Alright. Yeah. This was fun. I like this. Kind of like destroyed my throat a little bit. It does show that I need to play like a lot of other Final Fantasy games. Honestly, is there anything I want to move? Up or down? It is a lot of Final Fantasy games. No, you know, looking at this, I think it's pretty good. There's maybe argument to lower Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions, but like I said, at the core of the game, it's still an amazing story. It's just a lot of the bugs with the PSP version kind of ruin it. Well, yeah, no, you know what? I think this is pretty good. Now I can link this video to everyone that ever asked me what's my stance on Final Fantasy videos. Oh, this is the Opera House. It's like, wait a minute, what song is this? Nice. All right. Have you done a Persona character? Oh, I haven't done that. I'll probably, you know what? I'll wait till I'm done with the Persona 2s. And then we'll do well, I mean, there's new characters in Persona 3 Portable too, right? So probably have to play that too. But we'll get around to something like that later on, I think. And that'll piss off a lot of people as well. All right, you know what? I think that's it. I think this is going to be the tier list.